here to discuss the terms of how this movement can be supported from Iranians all around the world, including North America or Europe or Australia or wherever they are. And we strongly condemn this ruthless, barbaric attack to Sharif University, which really has a very bad impact uh, for Iranians all around the world. Um, you would forgive my manners. I'll just pass the mic to Nima. Just before that, I'm gonna welcome Roxanne Ganji, Miss Roxanne Ganji, and the others who are listening to us in the audiences. Um, I respectfully invite um, Dr. Hala Brumant, Mr. Shayan Arya, or anybody who can help us to improve this discussion about the terms and the ways of our solidarity with Iranian protesters. Thank you, Imajan. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Roozbeh, and thank you, Dr. Daniel, Miss Roxanne, everybody who's on stage. I'm very honored to be here, and very, very proud these days to be an Iranian and a member of this community. I'm going to start the discussion with a question an American friend asked me today, and he specifically asked about what's going on in Sharif University. And I tried to explain it to a Western person the best way I could because they have not experienced the same kind of dynamics that we experience in our politics growing up Iranian. So I told them, imagine you have a militia in the United States, a loosely correlated militia that's in cahoots with the government. And that militia comes and takes over MIT. It starts shooting. It starts like taking people to the student center, and it starts telling the students they are not allowed to leave the premises. And imagine the FBI in like 30, 40 minutes later sending reinforcements to support this malicious takeover. And this is the kind of scenario, this was the closest scenario I could construct for my American friend to kind of explain this one situation in Sharif. And then once I explained it to him and I said, this is like a drop in an ocean of what's been going on for 43 years. This, what I just explained to you, is just like a drop. It's like a Sunday evening compared to what's been going on in the whole scope of this 43 years and the experiences we had to go through. Unfortunately, a lot of people around the world, especially the Western world, cannot really grasp the full extent of what being an Iranian means, even in the diaspora, even when we come to the United States, even when we have prominent members in our community, such as Dr. Daniel, such as Roozbeh, such as all these Iranians who have reached prominence in diaspora, have reached like great heights, but at the end of the day, there's still something missing. At the end of the day, we think about our homeland. We think about our people. We are an ancient people. We are not a country that was made out of thin air. We are not a country that was made 70, 80 years ago. We're a country with very, very deep historic roots, and one generation is not going to erase that. We still have deep ties, deep connections to the homeland. We care about it. We do what we can. We go to these rooms. We go to these rallies. We do whatever we can, whatever's in our power to make a change. But to a Western person, to a person who is a native of these Western countries, it's very, very difficult. And because this room is in English, I feel like I should emphasize on this because it's something that they hear about the news. A lot of people say, why do Iranians always post political things for the past 2 weeks? Why is it nonstop? Like, what's going on? Like, I've heard this a lot. This is part of the reason why. It's because it's an ongoing struggle to no end. And now we finally seen the light at the end of the tunnel. Now we finally seen Miraculously, in my opinion, the entire Iranian world, whether it's inside Iran, whether it's the diaspora worldwide, we've had some deep, deep divisions within the community, inside, outside, and now everybody's coming together finally over a singular cause, over our homeland, over the future of our homeland. And now everybody's saying, we are all in this together. We can't do anything alone. Or, we can't be fractions of a country. We have to be a whole. And as a whole, we are powerful. My last statement that I want to say, because I also hear this from my Iranian friends a lot, that why isn't the West doing more? Why isn't the West doing anything? Why aren't the news media of the world covering this the way they should, the way it's their just due? I agree with that. Yes, the West might not do enough. Most countries have their own benefits, and they might not do what's in your best interest as an Iranian. But why look outward? That's the question I want to construct. Why look at the West when we are a historical people on this stage alone? Look at how many prominent people you have. Look at how many educated people you have, men and women. We are an elite people. We are an elite group of immigrants. And inside Iran, just like you saw the people in Sharif University, we have so many elite individuals. We as a people are powerful, and we have to start believing in that. And we have to stop looking out and start looking within first. Once we have a coalition, once we achieve what our full potential is, the rest of the world are going to come on board because they're not going to have a choice. Once they see that the balance of power is in the favor of the Iranian population and favor of the Iranian populace, they have no choice but to cave. And that's what's going to eventually happen. So I want my Iranian comrades to think about that as well as this discussion goes forward. Thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Nima, for
Uh, Sorry to just interrupt, Daniel.
yeah.
I know it's been a little bit late for Hale Bruman. Just
Okay.
before we go to the other guests, if you don't mind, I want her to just kind of, yeah,
Sure.
share
Ladies,
her ideas with
this is a
us.
revolution
Okay,
for ladies, so we go to
there you
ladies
go.
with no
Yeah,
with
they're in the
no the just one I want to
priority.
say a couple of things before that. Um I want everybody to invite their non-Iranian friends to this room. Please push if you are on iPhone, push the little square with the arrow in it and invite your friends, non-Iranian. Iranian if you want, that's fine. But non-Iranians, so we spread the word. That's one thing. I want you guys also, if you can, share the room so more people see it on hallway, and we can have, at least when we spend this time, at least some other people also can join us and listen to this. And thank you. And Hale, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Roozbeh, for inviting me. Thank you, all the moderator, for creating this space. It's very important to have English-speaking rooms to bring awareness to this. I was in Tehran's room as well, and it's interesting that a German friend invited me there. And she is also opening rooms to talk about the situation in Iran. And actually, German women have been very active about this. I have been telling people for years that we know what's going on. Instead of talking among ourselves, we need to talk to the world. And wherever we are, in whichever language we can speak, we have to speak up. I will listen to see what more I can contribute.
Thank you, Hale. And if you can invite your German friend here, that would be great too, if she's available.
Yeah, uh, like just before like the next speaker starts, I would say the whole concept of this room is a kind of public awareness that we're looking and somehow announce or introduce this uprising which is happening in Iran, like as a big picture, and then specifically talking about the attack, the brutal, barbaric, ruthless attack to Sharif University. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, your microphone is yours.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I usually don't join rooms that are about politics, but I think this one is very different. I just wanted to share a few things for non-Farsi speaking audience. So about, my generation's experience. So our parents are the generation that actually, um, when revolution happened in Iran, they went through the transition. And because of their experiences, my experience with them was stay away from politics. It's dirty business. You don't want to get involved. So we were that generation that we wanted to stay quiet, just, not get involved. And gradually, I think it is changing. And now it's very drastic because there is a gap between that, original generation that revolution happened to them and these children that are my peers' children right now, because they have experienced the parents that they are tired of what they have been through, but they didn't have any voice. So I went to Sharif University. It is very dear and near to my heart, and it is very difficult to just see all these things coming. Even some of the videos, I know exactly where those locations are. Um, that was years ago, and you know during that time, whenever we heard the stories, we try to ignore it or just not really get involved or just believe that this is not going to happen to me. This is something that is very isolated. They may have done something. I'm just going to stay away. And then my brother went to Sharif University. At the time, I was not in Iran anymore. And I remember um, I was actually, I took my car to fix my car, and I was just waiting for my car to get fixed. And I was watching TV in the waiting room, and CNN was on. And that was during Ahmadinejad election. And I just saw that they're just going towards the street. I mean, I may get the detail wrong right now, but this is what I remember. And I start like watching news, and I know that similar situation was happening to Sharif University. They actually locked the main gate, and I knew my brother was working that day late in the lab because he was working on his project. So I started calling him, and he was not believing me. He was like, "No, nothing is happening." And I was literally, I remember I was calling my parents, I was begging him to just stay away from the main gate, just run away from the back gate. There was like a small door in back of university. And he listened to me. And because there's no, at the time it was actually worse, not much internet going on, not much communication. So people really, they don't have access to what is happening. And I know that that day there were a lot of students that they got arrested, and God knows what happened to them. um, I felt, okay, I saved at least my brother. But what about all these other students that, they're really bright. They're future of this. Not, I don't want to say just this country, just the whole world. They're newer generation. And my message to non-Irani listeners is, it doesn't matter what part of the world this is happening, is injustice. And there are human beings that are in this situation, in this condition that they're living, and they don't have any voice. And it's getting worse and worse. And there are parents out there that are worried for their children. I hear that from my friends, from my high school friends that are still in Iran. They say we really ask our children to go to school, study hard. Now we are worried every single day when they go to school, when they go to university. So they don't know if they're going to come back, and especially these days. So as a human being, any injustice that goes on in any part of the world, it should really alert us, and we should get involved, especially if even we can take one step to be the voice for them. And these past few days, these past few weeks showed us that we can really do something. Because before, as I said, I tried to stay away, just mind my own business. And sometimes I felt like I can't really do much from outside of Iran. But that changed. Something in all of us changed, because the scale and the level of injustice that is happening, I think that something in all of us just woke up. And it is not about politics. It's not about any of that anymore. We just want to be the voice for people who don't have a voice and people who are just suffering from everyday injustice that is happening. Thank you for the time.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks, Sarah. I would say we're here to discuss. Well, the things that we cannot do is pretty obvious. I believe we need to discuss about the thing that we can do and how to contribute our efforts to support the Iranian movement and the students in Iran. Um, Roxanne, welcome. Mike is yours.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'm probably one of the oldest in the room right now, and I've witnessed the 1979 revolution. And being that my father was the Minister of Science and Higher Education, I have a little bit of a more of a background to what goes on in these universities and what went on back then. When this happened in the Sharif University, I asked my father, "So, if you were the Minister of Education right now, what would you have done?" And he explained to me that back then, during what they called the dictatorship of the Shah, the students had their own disciplinary committee, and a couple of the professors were also on that committee, and they would have a little hearing for the students who did anything that was against the community's procedures and everything, and they would decide back then. For the first time, they would most probably give them a notice. The second time, they would probably suspend them from one of their courses and make them redo one of their courses, which was the highest punishment that they got for something like this. These students, young, who have the brightest future ahead of them, and like Sarah said, Sharif University is where the cream of the crop have gone to, where most of the people in the IT business that are here in the Silicon Valley and most big companies came from Sharif. I worked with a few of them, brilliant young men and women. And the United States is truly lucky to have them, and we're truly unlucky to have lost them. And when these students are asking for their most basic rights, they shouldn't be, arrested in a raid by the police, by the campus police. Campus police should be there to protect the students. Then the Minister of Science and Higher Education goes to the campus, and instead of standing up for these young students and trying to calm the situation down, the man, who's probably as illiterate as his president, tells them that they created this situation and they should pay the consequences. This is what a Minister of Science and Higher Education is telling the students, which is shameful. And allowing for these students to be beaten and injured and arrested for wanting their most basic rights and allowing a crackdown on these students is totally uncalled for by any official, especially in a regime that's known as a terrorist regime, who has done this from the get-go, who has, from the very beginning of the revolution, taught the children in school to be snitches, to snitch on their parents, to come and report if they drink in their house, if they have parties in their house, if they speak against the government. This is what this regime was trying to do to our kids. And we see these young, brave men and women, no matter at what age they grew up in under this regime, they have stood up to this regime from the very get-go, and these younger generations now are totally against anything Islamic that this regime was trying to instill in them and brainwash them with. And the more that the regime is cracking down on them, the more determined they are to stand up to them. And we saw last night at Sharif University, everybody came around the Sharif University. They didn't flee this time. They came to stand up for these students. And I truly, truly believe this is what they have to do. We as a nation have to come together and stand up against these tyrants and what they've done to us for the past 43 years. And this is what they have to do. They have to come together every time. They have to raid the university, break the gates down, and save these children. If there's millions of people on the street, this regime can't do anything. Believe me, they don't have enough forces. Believe me, they're scared. Believe me, the forces are tired. The forces have families whose students in these universities. So I think that we're on the right track. They're doing these kids know what they're doing. I truly believe. They know what they want, they know where they're going, and we just have to raise their voices. That's what we can do abroad. That's what we should have done for the past 40 something years. I'm glad that finally those who always made fun of activists like me and Shayan and many others in this room, we've been dealt a bad card. They've always told us, "Oh, you're wasting your life. They'll never go. They'll never change." They're going, guys. It's time for us to hold our hands together and make this happen. We have to be their voices. We have to encourage them. And believe me, victory is not too far away. This regime is going, no matter what. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months max. I appreciate the time that you gave me. I appreciate you doing this in English because there's a lot of Iranian Americans who don't speak perfect Farsi and um, can't attend these other rooms and get what we're doing. We need to get these young kids who unfortunately have grown up here and don't speak Farsi involved. And believe me, they're involved. We see them in the demonstrations here. And I really appreciate the time you gave me and encourage you to have more of these rooms so that they can attend.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
Roxana.
yeah, thank you. I just had a
Uh,
question before you leave, Roxanne. What do you think is the root cause of this ruthless attack to Sharif University? Is it like some sort of intimidation for the students, or what do you think? I was wondering about. I'm
Well,
looking
they were
forward.
trying to scare the other university students from doing this, but what happened? Tehran University joined in. Other universities are joining in. Young students in school are joining in. I saw a video that cracked me up actually. In an elementary school today, one of the officials of the Ministry of Education had gone to the school. These kids beat him up and they kicked him out of the school. I mean, so people aren't scared of these guys. This military police has to now start standing with the people. That's what they have to do. And I truly think that they were trying to intimidate students, whether in universities or schools, I mean, elementary schools, high schools, to not get any ideas, but they gave them more of an incentive to come together and stand up against this regime. These kids are not going to go away. These kids are going to fight to the end. Elementary, college, high school, they've come together and they know what they want. They want freedom. They want their most basic human rights. They want to live. They want to be secure. They want to live like everybody else. So Roozbeh, I really don't think that they can deter these kids by acting like this. And I think Khamenei knows now that the end is near, if he's really alive. I mean, he had a speech today, but I don't know if this is a taped something from before. I don't know. But anyway, he should know that the end is truly near. This young generation that they wanted to make it turn into a brainwashed Islamic generation is totally the opposite. They're totally ahead of their time and brilliant, brilliant. I'm so proud of them.
okay, thank
And
you,
Roxanne, it's worth
Roxana.
mentioning that this was a girls' school that kicked out that deputy minister.
Yeah, that's where I saw them. They were brilliant.
Okay, so I'm gonna reset the room again since lots of people joined us. We are gathering here in light of crackdown on students in multiple universities in Iran. We put on a title Sharif University, but this is not just about Sharif universities, all over universities in Iran. And it's not just universities. Somebody mentioned in chat room that talk about Balochistan. How
Yes,
about,
I saw that. I think it's
yeah,
very
how
important.
about the person is from Tabriz? I don't know why he's not talking about Turks, because that makes more sense. But every ethnicity in Iran, this is the first time, I think, in long run, that all the ethnicities together and united uprising in every part of the country. So Balochistan and Zahedan, or what happened, massacre in Zahedan, also is condemned. What happened in Kurdistan is condemned. What happened is in Tabriz is condemned. What happened in everywhere, every city in Iran is condemned. Fars, Turk, Lor, Baluch doesn't make a difference for that. The reason that we are on title name Sharif University, because that resemble with a part of elite scholars in the world. Sharif University is like MIT, is like a Stanford. So lots of higher education professors, deans of schools, engineering schools, technology companies, heads and managers are coming in close contact with the people who graduated from this university. So we want to use this potential in order to spread the word. So do not get distracted. In my belief, is kind of distraction, even intentionally or unintentionally, by people who, in this way, kind of helping the government. So we are not differentiate between any universities, any ethnicities, any cities. We just want to represent what's happening in Iran, while people of the Iran don't have that opportunity. Their internet's crackdown. They cannot connect to any of international society. They cannot talk to anybody. And today, Skype gave the opportunity for outside people to call inside Iran without any expense. Or Google today on their Farsi page put a gateway for Iranians to be able to crack down the filters that are basically sanctioning Iranians to come out and be on the internet. So the Iranians use VPNs. It's basically is a setup on the internet that they are able to use the IP address from other countries and connect to internet. So basically they don't want their voice to be heard. Especially they don't want their voice to be heard in English, so everybody in the world understand that. So this is the reason that we have this room. Roozbeh, please continue.
Yeah, and well, as you said, the ironic part is that the guy who was in charge of filtering the internet back in 80s in Iran is now the head of Sharif University. This guy was supposed to protect Sharif students from brutal morality police or the security forces, but he failed to do so. Um, although I'm a talker, tonight it's an exception. I'm going to let the other speakers speak as well. And uh, I would say, based on what I can see, I would say that's Shayan's turn. Shayan, just feel free to open up your mic and just share your ideas with us in this matter. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Roozbeh. Thanks, everyone, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I think it's important for us who live outside to explain what's going on in Iran with our colleagues, with our friends, and with the host countries, whether it's US, Canada, or Europe. Because what I'm hearing a lot from my non-Iranian friends is that, well,
Just before you go ahead, Shayan, do you agree that uh, like the atmosphere has changed during these recent weeks? Like when you when you meet another Iranian, like in your place or in your hometown, like the insights have been changed. Like they do not kind of recognize us as a just a country in the Middle East, and as everybody showed solidarity with Iranian movement. So what has changed, if I can ask?
sure, I was going to go there. You know, well, I keep hearing from my foreign friends, non-Iranian friends, okay, what's new? We've seen this before. There have been uprisings in the past, blah, 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 blah. And it came to nothing. And what I keep telling them, or I think it's important for us to tell them, is that this time there's a big difference. There's a mood change, both inside Iran and outside Iran. I mean, we've been living all over the globe. And throughout these 44 or 43 years of the Islamic Revolution, the Iranians in diaspora, for example, they have been fractured. They have had differences, political differences. Some were monarchists like me, some were Republicans, some were left, some were right, some were, more towards ethnic groups and all that stuff. And the and the propaganda of the Islamic regime was so high, and unfortunately, some of the leftists also helped them in achieving that sometimes a lot of Iranians believed that we were really a fractured nation, which wasn't true. And now you can see that Iranians, regardless of their political views, regardless of their ethnic groups, regardless of their socio-economic backgrounds, and all those differences that we always had, have come together. And we are trying to be the voice of Iranians inside Iran. And the same thing has happened inside Iran. So it's not a coincidence, or it's not an accident that Iran is an ancient country, despite what some people try to tell the world or tell us, that we are fractured nations, we really have nothing in common. It was because of the force of the kings or whatever in the past that we came together, and all that nonsense. Iranians are true nations. They are a real nation that have lived together, fought together, and protected this culture for thousands of years. And now that sense of unity has come back, because we all felt what had happened in Iran to that young girl, and we've seen all this oppression of the Islamic regime, and we, each and every one of us, have felt it in our own ways. We've had experiences with it. We had family members who suffered from it. We suffered ourselves. It's all over our psyche. And this time, what's different is that Iranians, regardless of where they are, they sense this unity and they love it. I mean, every single person I've seen in my own town, people who would never even go to parties together, but we are going to the demonstrations together. We are supporting, we are calling each other, what can we do? Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we buy flags? Should we spread flags? Should we call this, government officials? What are we supposed to do? And all that stuff. And regardless of our views or differences that in the past used to, divide us or whatever. This is what I'm experiencing in my own hometown. And during the demonstrations we had this past Saturday, it was exactly the same thing. So this sense that we are all united against an evil regime that is killing our people, destroying our lives, destroying our country, destroying our environment, destroying our, ancient history. That sense of unity is just something that I never felt it like this. All these years that I've been active in politics, against the regime, I've done all kinds of things, as Roxanne probably knows some of my stuff. So what's different is this time, is this sense that we are all in it together and we have the power to do it. The other thing that is different is that this regime has reached a point that people have realized, and they're realizing, even their supporters, even people who are not really against the Islamic regime, have come to realize that there's something fundamentally wrong with this regime. Something is rotten to the core that is not fixable. Some of them grudgingly admit that, some of them don't, but deep down they know that something is rotten in this regime that cannot be fixed. All the uprisings, or you know demonstrations or what have you in the past, there were some segments of Iranian society that used to believe that maybe if we change the president, maybe if we bring support this group within the regime or do that or things like that, it could fix or we could improve things. And people have gone through all those phases and none of it worked, and now have realized that the only way to solve our problems and put the country on the right track is to get rid of this regime. And this is something that has never happened before to this extent. And that's a welcome thing. And this is what's different, that even the supporters of the regime have lost their confidence in the regime, despite their, barkings and all those rhetoric and all those things that they say and claim that the regime is strong. We will defend it to the last drop of our blood and all that nonsense. Deep down, when you talk to them, when you listen to them, you know that they are not as confident as they used to be. And that's what's different. And also what's different is that the whole world community have realized that a hell of a lot of problems around the globe, and especially in the Middle East, will be solved if this regime is gone. And the same thing that happened to the Iranian people in terms of realizing that this regime cannot be fixed, gradually, although with a slower pace than the Iranians have realized. The international community is also realizing that really they have tried everything they could with this regime, from negotiations, from bribing them, from ignoring their crimes. Anything that you can think of, the international community has done in order to make this regime a normal regime, a regime that they can work with and be a part of the international community, be a part of the solution rather than the problem. And all of those efforts have failed. And there was an interview, I think, with Tony Blair a few days ago, or I think it was last week or something. And he said exactly the same. He said, if this revolution collapses, this revolutionary government, Islamic revolutionary government in Iran collapses, is probably the best thing that could have ever happened in the world, or the Middle East particularly, or something to that extent. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing what he said. So even, prime ministers of Britain, who were always very accommodating or understanding towards the Islamic regime, try not to be really harsh on them and all that stuff, have now realized and are saying it out loud that the collapse of this regime, change of this regime, will solve a hell of a lot of problems. So as far as the Islamic regime is concerned, right now, and that's why they're scared, and that's one of the reasons they attacked this Sharif University, is that they see a perfect storm developing, both internationally and internally, with the economic situation, with the real and also with their internal situation, that the corruption is so widespread, the inadequacy of their officials so apparent, and all those things have come together the dissatisfaction of the people, and people being fed up with all these, religious restrictions, social restrictions, political restrictions, economic, situation. People are fed up with everything, and all these little storms have come together, and they are making this huge perfect storm, and that's why they are scared, and that's why they attack this university particularly, because in my opinion, um, they want to send a message to all the universities that if we can do this to the cream of the crop, the best university, and one of the best known universities of Iran, imagine what we can do to you. I think they did it for one of the reasons they did it was this. And the other reason was, I believe, that they hold a grudge against Sharif University, because Sharif University was one of the best universities during His Majesty's time before the revolution. And it remained so after the revolution. And after a while, they tried to destroy it like any other university. They tried to destroy it, but they realized that they can use this to their advantage. So they kept it, and the highest standard remained, and some of the best students came up, thinking that they could mold these students in their own image and use their knowledge and expertise in advancing their agenda. But it failed. There was a report I was reading a while back. I think 8 out of 10 top graduates of
Yeah,
Sharif.
Shayan, John, sorry to interrupt, but because, well, the whole concept is probably closing this room in like in an hour. If you can just wrap it up, that would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
That's all I was gonna say. That they hold a grudge against them because, despite all their hope that they could use their knowledge to their advantage, 8 out of 10 top graduates of Sharif University have left the country, and they hold it. In turn, I mean, I think they hold a grudge against Sharif University, and that's why they want to send a message, but it fails. Anyway, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a really nice speech. I enjoyed it personally. Shayan, thank you. Yeah, we need to come together as one. And when it comes to the brutal violence attack, I would say everyone should condemn it. So, Mazri, I'm sorry you've been waiting for a long time. Uh, the mic is yours.
Thank you. It's okay. I left the room and came back. So, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. As Dr. Daniel said, we've been hosting a room. It started off as a room that we just wanted to talk about for an hour or two, and then 12 days later, we kept the room open. And the reason for that is at any given time, there are so many different people that come on this app. There are not people that sit on this app all day. Some people do. They need to tell them to not sit here all day long. But and we have been getting quite a few people from Iran, and also I've my following, which is mostly non-Iranians, and I was born and raised in Iran. I came to the US twice, once, and then had to go back because documentation and paperwork. Long story, I won't share that. But one thing I wanted to share about the university, what I noticed is more and more people are actually posting about this specific topic. And also, more and more people are talking about it that are not Iranians. And what I know from social media and what I understand from just how people work in America and other countries, if they can relate to something, they will understand and they will support and they will post about it. When the Mahsa Amini situation first happened and when Iran became a topic, nobody wants to touch Iran because of however it has been portrayed. Even though it was a human rights issue, even though it was a women's rights issue, it still was Iran. Now it's about university students, and I'm seeing people share that I didn't expect to actually be talking about this, which is a good thing. So I encourage everyone to, when you are speaking to people that aren't Iranian, that aren't Persian, that aren't Kurdish, that aren't Baluchi, that aren't of from Iran, to share context and make it relatable to them, have them understand. I do this a lot when I share on Instagram or Twitter. I try and talk to people and help them understand why this is important for them, not just for me, because as we all know, I mean, even sitting in some of these rooms, including our room that's been going on, I just feel so many people have personal agendas. And I feel if we put those aside and talk about the human rights aspect of this and get people to understand and compare it to, imagine if Harvard University was locked down. Imagine if Yale was locked down and your children were inside. That gets them thinking. And so when we talk about protests, people think, oh, this happens all the time in Iran. Who cares? It's not a big deal. So just my point with all this is when you are speaking to people that are not aware of any of the history or context of Iran, in the room that we have going on, people had no idea that how many different ethnic groups and even how many different religions come from Iran. They thought it was just oil, Arab, terrorism, Islam, money, pretty girls, Persian rugs. That's what most people think. And so it's important that we all, I mean, look at how many amazing people are on this stage alone or in this room, how many educated people from different backgrounds. And so that's the Iranian side of us that we need to show the world. And as all of you have already said, is to just stand united. And I invite everyone to come in whenever you want into the other room. Please come on stage, share your stories, share your perspective. Sometimes people will get in arguments, other times people will unite together. But this is the first time in my life that I have ever seen this many of my non-Irani friends actually be interested in what's happening. And social media is very powerful. Social audio is very powerful. And this is a time for us to get the word out about the reality that Iran has been in the last 43 years, and putting other agendas aside and then thinking about this strategically. So I can go on and on. I do have to go back to my room, but I encourage people to encourage your friends to ask questions, and don't speak to only Persian, Farsi, and Irani people. Go out and go and maybe force a conversation with people that you work with that have no idea what's going on, and just say, hey, read this article. When I post on Instagram, if I say, hey, support this, I also go back 40 years and explain the history behind that. So I encourage people to do that. Thank you for letting me share. And I will go back and forth between both rooms just so I can support. Thank you.
Solmaz, wait a second before you go. So Solmaz and Tehran, Farzad, Mahnaz, and multiple other people running this room for last 12 days, if I'm not mistaken. Been there, talked multiple times. I think it's one of the best rooms that we had for a long time, especially that they are taking their time, taking their shifts, not a sleeping, wake up early to basically be able to run the room very efficiently. And we are not comparing a 2 hours room to a 12 days room. And that's not the purpose. The purpose of this room is to bring to attention of a specific issue, while Solmaz and their friends are basically creating a debate environment. This room is more commentary room, and that room is more debate environment. So Solmaz John, please send a link of the room so I can ping it in the room,
Yeah.
so people can come, and also you can put it in the chat room so people can come and enjoy your room as well and get the more information. So for people who want the long run rooms, and you can join any time of the day or night, you can go there and listen to the amazing discussions there. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us.
Yeah, thanks so much, John. It was a very good speech, and I really appreciate your efforts regarding the other room that you're holding for 12 consecutive days, and it's really much appreciated. Um, so I'm just gonna welcome David Etebari. I was expecting him like for a long time, Dr. Semko Momeni and the others who are in this room. I would say it's Mr. Smilepour's term from Canada.
Oh, firstly, I need to thank you, everyone, and also Mr. Roozbeh and Dr. Daniel for holding this meeting over here. I think this is one of the action that we need to have in outside Iran. This is exactly echoing the voice of Iran, the voice of students. So I think this is great, and we should continue doing something like that for future. Because if you are going to spread the voice of Iranian outside the country, how? If somebody asks from what happened in the University of Sharif, most of us have enough information. We have long story about the 40 years, 7 years, 60 years ago, and something like that. But a non-Iranian friend don't have enough time to listen to us. They want to know what it happened in Tehran, in Sharif University, who was the in charge, who did that, why, what was the uh, action of the people, and something like this question, and what would be going on in future. So we should say, we should summarize it, and we should tell them all the answer of the question in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Now we have about 136 people over here. I do believe that most of them are Iranian. This is not bad. It could be a good practice for us and for gaining the experience and later opening this kind of room to the non-Iranian friend. So I appreciate for having this. Also regarding the what it happened and what was the impact, what would be the next by the student and by the government. I think we can see the support of the Iranian inside Iran and in Tehran. How did try to help the student in the nighttime and daytime? How did they kind of stopped those brutal security forces and those things? And how did they help them? I had some witness that sent a report to me that was incredible about how brave the people are, how brave the girls are, and the boys are. How did they handle the crisis with the security forces? These are important. The main question is why, if one of my friend non-Iranian asking, why they attack the university? This is important. They are not complex like us and our discussion. They want to know why, for example, I was hearing one of the guys talked about the MIT. Why the government should attack a university like MIT? What is going on? What is the main cause of that? And when you tell them about the root of the this event and what has happened, they just can find out how brutal is this regime. They look at some days before the attacking the Sharif University. The first they attack Kurdistan. They attack the schools of the kids. There were some casualty from the kids. Is there any country that sending some missile to their people in a United Nation, for example, area that has been protected by United Nation? Is there anyone that attack the kids? You know, based on the United Nation armed conflict and schools, if I remember well. This is a kind of this is a kind of uh, crime war, and this is a special one of the big deal with the war. So they started first from the Kurdistan to punish the Kurdish people, the uprising people, and the who uprise and attacking the people who start the uprising. They wanted to get them involved in clashing armed conflict, but they were enough experienced expert that they didn't get involved. Later, also by supporting the Iranian from all around the world and inside Iran from the Kurdish people, then they tried Baluchistan because they thought if we couldn't trigger the armed conflict in the Kurdistan, we will be able to do that in Baluchistan. Even at that area, by some of the expert commander of the Baluchi people, they could not get succeed, and they uh, defeated the regime. Later, their think tank thought, what should we do? The next point, or maybe the first point, is the universities, the student, the main think tank of the movement. So they attacked them. They try to kill everyone. They chain the doors and they try to take them out. They try to arrest them, beaten them, and taking them out. But by asking for SOS from the student, most of the people get around that, and they were not succeed to that. I had a story about one of our commander in Iran. He is one of the local commander for Shorai Meli Tasmim, National Decision Making Shura, and he said that he was the witness for arresting one of the students, and later the day after, because he knew him.
Sorry to interrupt, Kay. If you can
Yeah,
just wrap it up. Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Oh, sure. Okay, I will let this story for later. So what it happened? The government didn't have any chance by just attacking the Kurdistan, later Baluchistan, later universities and the students. Now, what has happened? The people supported them internally and externally. I have a flyer in front of my computer that is UBC stand in solidarity with a student in Iran. And UBC is University of British Columbia, the university in my city. This is the reaction of the people, Iranian and outside. And I want to mention you about one of the other things that happened with myself and some of the uh, Iranian. We were succeed to get the Canada impose a sanction on Iran for systematic human rights violation. It happened with the Global Affair Canada. It happened 3 days ago. That was a session with Minister Julie, and later they work on that. And
Mr.
today,
K,
October
ma'am,
8th, they
I really appreciate. I'm sorry to say this, but I really lots of people here, and this room is just for 2 hours.
okay. I'm
We
going to wrap it up.
thank you very
This is the
much.
There is a press release that the government of Canada has issued, and it is about a sanction on some of the major commander of the military and the other government people. This is the action and echoing the voice of Iranian and supporting them, and also the other one was about a student and 2-3 rallies in Vancouver about that. Thank you very much for having me, and
Yeah,
hope
thank you.
we get victory.
Thanks,
Roozbeh,
thanks, Yehobajan. Yeah,
one
sure.
second. Um, people who come on a stage, I understand you're passionate about what's happening in Iran, but also, even though that most of our audience here is Iranians, but we have some people who don't know anything about geographical areas of Iran. They don't know anything about the politics inside Iran and references. So first of all, please be aware of that because you want people understand what you're saying. So number one. Number two, I really appreciate if you make your comment or your opinion to 2 to 3 minutes so we can hear more people and attract more people to the stage. Otherwise, we're going to run out of the time and not hearing lots of people while the people are just, I'm telling you, this is my experience for years of teaching. People don't pay attention to what you're saying after 2 to 3 minutes by default. So try to concise it, try to make it brief and on point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Roozbeh.
And I also want everyone to somehow focus on the Sharif University crackdown, which was our topic. I know we will be able to have hours and hours of talking and discussion and debate regarding what is happening in Iran now, but the whole concept of uh, establishing, or I would say running of this room with Daniel, was to emphasize the importance of this brutal crackdown to Sharif University and the root cause and the intimidation that the government is looking. So if you guys can somehow manage your time, I'm not going to interrupt anyone. That would be very much appreciated. I would say the next one will be Zari, if you don't mind, Hamidjan, because the ladies are always in the top of our list for priority. Thank you, Zarja. Go ahead. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me on the stage. Let me first express my deepest sadness and anger about the attack on Sharif University. As a Sharif graduate, it truly broke my heart to watch the scenes because it was like a flashback. For all the memories I had, I could recognize the streets, the doors. I could recognize the little road inside the university, and it was truly heartbreaking. And Sharif or no Sharif student, it's not about just one university. It's about the people of Iran, and it's heartbreaking to just watch what is going on in Iran at the moment. However, friends, I'm not here to talk in particular about Sharif University. I would like to raise another little discussion, and that's about the high school children who are joining the protest. And you may have seen the little clips that they are sending to the world at the moment. And the very interesting and beautiful thing is that they are protesting just right under the whiteboard in the classroom. And those clips come from the heart of the school to the heart of the people who are watching it. And I must tell you that I'm a high school teacher, and I've been teaching around the world, not just in one country. And I think I can say I know the children well enough to say something about that. And in particular, I've been working with students and teaching the students at the grade 11 and grade 12, which is the peak of the teenage years, basically. And that's what I would like to talk about. If you look at the first world countries, they are the kids in those countries are taught about human rights, and they are so aware of their own rights as an individual, not just as a a human, but as an individual, like within their sexuality, within their different that I don't want to talk about that in general. Yet they learn how to demand it. They learn at school. We teach them actually how to challenge it, how to demand it, and they are taught to be critical thinkers. They challenge us as adults, and in so many levels, I must tell you that these teenagers, these kids are so aware of what they want that they can say it loudly. Okay, so if you put this aside and then look at Iran and other countries like Iran, but in particular, my discussion is about Iran, I would tell you that kids in Iran, and when I say kids, I'm talking about teenagers, they tick all these boxes as well. Okay, one thing that I learned as a teacher teaching around the world is that kids are kids, regardless of where they are, where they live, and regardless of what we teach them. So I would like to raise this to you guys, and I would like to tell you not to underestimate the power of the teenagers and the thinking behind those brains, because they are so effective. And what you can see around the world at the moment is because of the internet and the power of internet, the Iranian children are so aware of the lifestyle of everything happening around the world, and they demand it. They want to have a normal life. You can see their demand in their poems. The latest poem that they are actually singing along with Shervin's song, below their whiteboard, is so simple. They want a normal lifestyle. They say they are sick and tired of the ideology that are taught in Iranian schools. They call it empty and absurd, which is شعارهای توخالی in Persian language. So yet, what we hear after a couple of days, after these kids are sending us the word, these messages, we hear that they should be punished. I repeat this, they should be punished, as if they are fooled, as if they are deceived. And this is the greatest put down to the kids at this level, at this age. Guys, they understand what they want. They understand what they are saying. So I'm here to say that kids,
John, sorry to interrupt you. If you can just wrap it up, because we
sure,
still got.
my wrapping,
Well, the point is,
sure.
well, just let me finish. The
The
point is,
point,
we only got 35 minutes for the rest of the speakers, so if you can just
no
wrap it up.
worries, no worries. My point is, although we may find these kids and their actions and their protests beautiful and brave and even cute, please make sure you understand that their actions are effective. Trust them, put your heart into what they say, and take them seriously. That is my wrapping up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your ideas with us. Uh, I'm kindly asking everyone, every speaker from now on, that kind of focus on the Sharif University crackdown. I know that we all have lots to say about these movements, about the current situation of Iran, about the young generation that are running these uprising or riots or rebellions or whatever you can call them movements. But yeah, that would be great if you guys can just somehow manage your time, so we'll have more speakers to hear. Thank you so much, Sarijan. Hamid, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Hamid Dadizadeh.
Just before you go ahead, just gonna ask, like this is so weird. I- I'm kind of pissed off of all these dark sarcastic comments in the chat, saying like everyone in here is Iranian, so why are you guys speaking English, or what is this weird accent? I would say there is no shame of having an accent. This shows that you at least know another language rather than English, okay? And I kind of ask everyone to be mindful, to be respectful for anybody who's in this room, okay? So stop putting those sort of comments which not a support and well, whatever. Pammy, just sorry to interrupt. Just go ahead.
So I am 75 years old, retired, expelled teacher from Tabriz. My wife is from Mahabad, Kurdistan. Since January 7th, 1978, till the attack to Sharif University, 43 years of theocratic fundamental regime of Iran has terrorized all ethnicities, every single part of Iran, under the banner of Islam. Just I want to talk 1 minute about this, that's it. In whole discussion in this room, I never heard anybody talk about the weapon and the tool the theocratic ayatollahs use to kill, to massacre, and to impose the brutal, severe restrictions on our women. Why? Because of Islam. Islam is now a fearful weapon. A few months ago in New York, a guy from Hezbollah attacked Salman Rushdie under the banner of Islam.
Hamid, sorry to interrupt, but let's not go that road, okay? Just stay focused on the topic, please.
Sure. Just I wanted in 1 minute to talk
It's
about
no, I'm
this.
not discussing. I'm not discussing the time with you. Uh, I kindly ask you to stay focused on the topic, please.
Okay, but this because my discussion is a little bit different from the.
No, because your discussion is irrelevant, and we only have half an hour left, and we have other speakers on the floor. If you have something to say regarding the Sharif University crackdown, now it's time. Otherwise, I would kindly ask you to wrap it up with your speech. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I will end here and I will listen and I will learn. The teachers are the great learners. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My parents are both teachers. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your ideas with us. I need to kind of change the momentum a little bit, Daniel, if you don't mind. Um, so the next speaker will be, from what I see, will be well, David Etabari. If you got time, I would say no. The mic is yours, and then after David, I would say that would be Hassan and then Semko. Go ahead, David.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for the good room and thanks for having me. Um, we heard about Sharif University and what's been going on over there and everywhere else in Iran the past 14 days. The question is, what can we do about it? In addition to just to raising awareness, getting the word out, which has been happening, and as everyone else brought up, this is very different than everything else. It's a worldwide uh, kind of movement, and everyone's is standing with the Iranian people and their right to have freedom, democracy, and human rights. Um, the where I'm going with this is that it's great that we're showing sympathy as well as going to the demonstrations, but uh, we need to be more. Demanding from our governments. This has gone through the civil society, but hasn't really made it completely to the politicians in charge of different governments in the free world. And they have shown their sympathy, but it has stayed pretty much within lip service, except few occasions. And the key is not to just necessarily just stick to the human rights, but to go beyond that, as to it is in the national interest of the governments of the free world to once and for all finish the appeasement with this regime, as well as realize that Iranians don't want this regime. I don't mean like they do the job for Iranians, but there's so much they can do, just as they did with the South Africa apartheid regime, racial apartheid, with the regime that now has way beyond that. It has all kind of apartheid, from gender to ethnicities to religion, etc. And the key is this: every government wants. Government people that want security these days. Energy is important, and economy is important. With the secular democratic Iran, there is more security and safety around the world and Middle East, and the political Islam will kind of, it'll be a domino that. If 78 was gave a rise to political Islam, it will be the end of that. Just like it was, we saw the end of Nazism, we saw the end of communism, we saw the end of racism, in as a whole. Not there are detail, there are little bits and pieces here and there, but it's time for that to go away for the political Islam of all kinds. And I think this is the beginning of the domino. So that's one thing. Security, it helps. The second thing is energy. And that is with Russia and everything that happened with Ukraine, Iran having oil and gas, etc., will be a great source of energy for Europe and the world, free Iran. And last, which is how I'm going to finish my talk, is the economy. Imagine Iran, free economy, free market economy, a flourishing Iran, a flourishing Middle East will have a lot more opportunities to invest and do joint project versus the little purchase power that people have now. So in all different aspects, this is what politicians should look at. And I saw today or yesterday in Canada, one of the politicians of the Conservative Party was actually giving his talk about if Iranians or whoever was there to vote for him, he will look into the future of Iran and will not follow the policies of present. And that's what we want. We want to make a change in the political atmosphere, and finally to take the Islamic Republic of Iran to Security Council based on the fact that this government is not providing support of its people. That's it. I try to be as fast as possible. Thank you for the
You've
great.
done beautifully, David. Thank you so much. I always learning from you. Thank you so much. Uh, I know that Ali is on the line and Hassan as well, but if you don't mind, we're just gonna listen to would say I can't see Daniel if you can just help me out with this. I would say yeah, it's Hassan. Well, let me just give you like a
Hassan was
quick
first.
yeah. Well, let me just give you a quick explanation of what we. The point is, we're not discussing any religious terms or any ethnicity or whatever. Okay, so I really appreciate what Hamid had to say, but just this one is a kind of little short one pilot. We may do this more often. I'm not too sure. It depends on everyone's time, but we were about to have this room yesterday, but because of some reasons, we had to just kind of postpone it to today. So the reason we're here now, and well, this room is being held the day after this crackdown, is that. Anyway, we had another co-host who didn't show up, and yeah, so it kind of put me and Daniel in some sort of hotspot to kind of wrap it up as fast as we can. Okay, so Hassan and then Slemko and then Ali. Ali John, sorry about like waiting in a line for too long. Hassan, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Roozbeh. I just want to make it very quick. What's happening in the Sharif University is not different than any, like the other thing happening for the other kids. I just wanted to mention something very, very interesting. The other day I watched a video. A young girl, 16, 17 years old kid. She was going toward a big police officer, one of those armored one. Like the guy was 6'2", 3 feet or something. There were few of them. She alone, lonely, like she alone went towards them, and the guy beat them up and put him on the ground and started beating him. I was asking to myself, why is this? This is so unusual. This is unusual. We've never seen this scene before. It's reminded me the Godfather #2, like when Al Pacino is in the Cuban, like one of the street, he's going by the car and see one of those rebellions, like he explodes himself in front of one of the police officer, and when that guy over there like is trying to cut the deal with these American guys with the Cuban minister, and he hesitates to cut the deal with them. When he asks why you are not doing that, he say, they might win. When I saw this video, and you know what, these Millennium kids are amazing. Like what they do is unbelievable, and everybody, like maybe they're not familiar with the Persian history, the Iranian history. They know that it's in last 120 years we had two revolutions. I think we're going to do the third one because of these brave new millennium kids. They mean business. They just want to get what they wanted. They've been like a, it's been hiding from them. About the Sharif University, Roozbeh, the most important thing, if you know that, like in 2009 uprising and 99, Sharif was one of the universities. It wasn't involved so much in the politics, and because of these these what's going on, it's so serious. Even those students in the Sharif, they just wanted to involve, and they just wanted to give the lesson, like, okay, you can't do that, we not tolerate it, that's it. I think that's the reason I try to make it quick and give the room to the other participant.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, because the university, which is really proactive in this, like political issues, is always Tehran Polytechnic and University of Tehran, and the Sharifis are somehow different. But yeah, I would say we need to somehow investigate the root cause of this attack, this crackdown, which will be the intimidation of the elite students in Iran. But it may have too many reasons, and we got some sort of I would say limited time to discuss that. But thank you, Hassan, for being so short and
Okay.
productive.
Roozbeh, I want to add a point.
Sure.
Since the room has a replay on, people who say, oh, it's all Iranians here, why you speak English? Okay, so do yourself a favor and do me a favor and do all the students of Sharif University a favor. Send a copy of link of this room to every non-Iranian followers that you have on all the platforms that you have, and share it on your Twitter. How about that? So we're talking about universities of Iran, yes? And it's English, yes? So use it. Instead of being funny, I can be funny too. I mean, the other way, sarcastic funny. But, you know, it's very easy. فارسی میگیم what? کشتی, you know, لنگش کنه. Mom, it's kind of you saying that, oh, you can do this. This is broken English. Yes, my English is horrible. It's 20 years I'm living here. I'm still practicing my English in Clubhouse. For all of us, it's kind of funny, but it's not. People of the world do not care about us if they don't know about us. Even they know about us, they need to have a reason to sympathize with us. Yeah? If something happened in some part of the world that you don't know about it, in some part of Africa with their language, and they speak on some platform about it, on their language, how many rooms are Farsi? Hundreds. How many rooms English? This is the second one. The first one is not having any replay. The first one is 24/7. So they cannot have a replay on it. And we have Pakhsh Zende here on YouTube. You can search, the name, and on Pakhsh Zende send it to YouTube link to your friends. Non-Iranian friends in your work, in your university environment, to your friends that you have on Facebook, you have on Twitter, you have on Instagram. Just send a link. Yeah? It's very easy. I know that some of you guys don't want to come up. Your English is great. I know you guys. Some because you want to go to Iran. I understand that. But sending a link to your non-Iranian friends is not going to jeopardize that. I assure you, not going to jeopardize that. But it may get to somebody who has an influence on a dean of a school in the United States or Canada or Europe. And that dean can put a statement out to Ministry of Science. And the Ministry of Science can go to European Parliament and pass a resolution condemning this. Maybe somebody stopped. Maybe somebody not getting killed. Maybe somebody in Iran not getting beaten because of international pressure, because of what you share. Fair enough, yes? I think it's fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, we need to be these students' voices, and I would say this would be our solemn duty to cast a light on this darkness. So please stop asking why we are speaking English in this room. I believe I've already addressed that. I'm sick and tired of answering to these like lamb questions. Please.
As I'm talking, this guy with the Italian name, Guillermo Conte, fake name. You know what? These guys are Islamic Republic
Yeah,
Mosdud.
just let's
Let them
just pass
talk.
this.
Let them talk.
No, no, no. I'm
Just
not
know
gonna
to
let them
know
talk. I'm
them.
just
It's
gonna
not
I'm just
bad to
gonna
know
point it.
them. These guys are actually here to put these statements out, and all of them are fake accounts. All of them. It's probably the same person who getting paid 50,000 toman to come here and say stuff. These guys are so poor and
Yeah. Let's
so.
just pass it, Daniel. I would say there's kind of limited time, and it's really late in here, and everyone needs to come back to work tomorrow. So, yeah. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to pass the mic to Simco. After Simco, it will be Ali, Jamshid, Sam, and Majid. Majid, if you have something to say, or you can wait until the end, then we can wait for you. Otherwise, if you got anything to say, now's
No,
the time.
I can wait. No worries. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So Simco, go ahead. Okay.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, Roozbeh and Dr. Daniel, for having this room and supporting Iranian people and students. I just like to talk about, just my own experience back to 1388, when the campus of the University of Tehran, we called Kuye Danishgah, got attacked by guards and Basiji forces. So I have seen how brutal they are. So they put fire in our dormitories, and all of our stuff just were gone. And I saw one of the students just got shot close to me, and I know how tragic the atmosphere can be. But one thing I want to say is that I saw the fear in the face of Basiji forces and even guard forces, and our anger was becoming bigger than their power, and they knew it decide. Now, I believe, at this time, we're gonna win, because this time, our anger is much more than the past. I mean, the last time. During, that time, we really wanted the outside Iranian be our voices and spread words, about what happened to us. So right now, I'm sure this is exactly what the people inside of the Iran want from us to do. So we must be their voices and do our best, especially on social media. So thank you for having me. And I'm sure we're gonna win. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to you, Semko. For anyone who doesn't know Semko is a doctor in kind of, he's an expert in climate change and stuff like that. Although we have our differences, well, he's more knowledgeable. I'm more good looking, so that's the difference. Thank you so much, Simco. I would say the next one will be Ali in the line. Ali John.
Hello, thank you, Roozbeh and Dr. Daniel. I want to start with praising my fellow Iranians who courageously risk their lives for freedom. And it's impossible to be calm, think clearly, and be empathic when we're afraid. And in the past few weeks, they have tried to instill fear. Universities are supposed to be safe haven for students and faculty to focus, learn, conduct research, and perform scholarly activities. And the current regime fears education and knowledge. They fear free thinkers and open minds. And this is why they go to any distance to make the brains to escape and emigrate. And they're left with those in leadership positions in Iran who are generally inexperienced and lack knowledge. And they have destroyed Iran and its resources. And all university students in Iran, regardless whether they're from Sharif University or not, um, I don't think they should be ranked, especially in this atmosphere, in this context. They're assets of Iran, and they're being wasted and forced to escape Iran. And the reason is they're trying to trample hope. So demonstrations have a habit of being infectious, and this is the biggest fear that the current regime has. Um, I hope that nobody loses hope, and just remember that demonstrations have a habit of being infectious. And um, I hope that it ends up being favorable to all the fellow Iranians. Thank you for the microphone and the room.
Thanks for being so quick and productive. Thank you, Alijan. Jamshid, it's time for you.
Hi, dear friends. Um, I just have a comment about the route of attacking the regime to the universities. Well, universities has two major power. One is the students are young, and you know that the youth is the power of the society for progress. And the second, it's the symbol of the way that critical thinking is thought, and all those 2 points is completely against the Iranian government regime. So of course it's going to be a target for them. The other comment that I have is, fortunately, the we have been successful in having um, people's opinion and sympathy toward what is going on in Iran. I think it's now time to uh, turn to action, to the political era, and send letters to the legislation of each country. Like in US that I live, I have written letters to my representatives and my senators that providing Iran with any kind of money uh, would jeopardize U.S. Uh, national interest, and you are going to be guilty in the killing of Iranians. And I'm not sure how the systems in Europe work, but every Iranian who lives in Europe should do the same thing and turn toward the legislative of their countries and push political pressure on them to not to cooperate with Iranian regime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, as we all heard like today in the news, it's been a couple of new like fresh. Well, like the Canadian government imposed a couple of fresh sanctions against IRGC and a couple of their commanders. This is not a time to discuss that in here, but maybe we try to run this room as some sort of pilot to get the feedbacks, and we may do this more often if it's useful. But thank you so much, Amchicha. Sam,
Hello, and thank you all guys, for
uh,
having this
your
dialogue.
voice is pretty low. If you can just remove your headset, that will help.
Actually, it's not on the headset. Is it better now?
No, still weak.
Okay, let me leave and come back.
Sure. Uh, in between, okay, Naz, yeah, Naz is
Oh,
here. Okay, now
yes.
it's better.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's good.
great. Okay, thank you guys for establishing this room in English, and it's a platform right in the Clubhouse. I think it's the first time someone run that one. It's a good way to convey our message to the world. And as a former student in some University of Iran, Shiraz University, Zanjan and Osman University, when I heard yesterday this happened to the Sharif University, my heart was completely broken. And so, because I was in the same situation a few times at the after the Kuidanishka anniversary, and also in 1388, and something happened that to us, to our university in Isfahan, also in Shiraz, and actually the same situation when we got stuck in the dormitory, and in the dorm, and all the passage and Hezbollah, surrounded us, and at all, I couldn't really talk because of kind of the sadness still surrounded my heart, and all over there we could hear all the shooting and everything. So I really have a compassion and my heart with them. So something that's happened over there, that was a really catastrophe. And something, I'm gonna just wrap it up to for giving this option to other person to talk about that. But just the only thing that I want to say that during these days, we need to, spread all words. We need the world to hear us. Something that I personally do that, maybe most of us, we are not, influencer. We don't have any bunch of maybe the friends or the follower in the Instagram. Something that I figured out and I'm doing during these 2 weeks. When I go to Instagram and when I see the story, always you can see a bunch of the advertisement and sponsored pages. Something that I do that right now, just open that pages and I have a kind of just a one sentence about the country that something happened, and also the hashtag Masa Amini. Something that I do that for something that is completely irrelevant, you know and I think this is a way that maybe even one person can hear us, someone that doesn't know about that, it can help. So just wanted to mention this point, that maybe someone that doesn't have enough doesn't have more followers or friends can do that on the Instagram to just force the world to hear us. And thank you so much for having me here.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, well, anybody who's been in university once, when you see these scenes and you see this brutal reaction with like security forces and the morality police, it breaks everyone's heart. And it's important for us, for all of us, to come together as one, to show our unity, to show our solidarity, to show our sympathy for the protesters in Iran. Thank you so much, Sam. Majid?
First of all, I want to say thanks for your invite and holding this great room. To be honest, when Roozbeh invited me to the stage, so my world was broken because yesterday was a super sad day for me, for science and for academia in Iran. So that is why I remember I called Roozbeh, and then it was so sad day. And we decided, when we had a very short conversation with Roozbeh, we decided to create a room, special room for this incident. So when we had a room, Mr. Muhammad Manzarpour, I think Roozbeh remember, he was crying. He was crying for the students of Sharif University because the Iranian regime laid siege to the prestige of Sharif University and shot at the students inside the university. So I strongly believe that we should be the voice of the brave men and women who are jeopardizing their life for freedom, for Iran. I believe that as Iranian, we have obligation. The only obligation when we are out of our country, we should be their voice, only their voice. Thank you for this great room. And I'm sorry I'm not able to speak anymore because my feel is not good, and then I'm so sad. Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Majid John, for being with us in here. So, as we announced earlier, we're about to have this room for like 2 hours, and now it's time
I think Nas did
for.
not talk.
Oh, sure. Oh, well, yeah. She just showed up out of the blue. Sorry, I didn't see. Yep, Naz, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the gathering. Thank you for everyone's sentiments. I'd like to acknowledge a few people. Majid Khan Rasuli, I hear your pain. My heart goes out to all of you that have passionately held up your own individual clubs. I'd like to thank Live on Air, who, with undying effort, has tried to cover every room. It saddens me when I hear Dr. Daniel not being able to eloquently speak as he always does, because he's got this thing in his throat, this thing that has been hanging around for 43 years, and he got a glimpse of happiness and it had to be deflated. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that. We all got our emotions high and we ended up being clobbered yesterday. And the savage, barbaric reaction that innocent students, without anything to protect themselves, just a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and they were just plummeted. My heart goes out to anyone who studied in Iran, went to university in Iran. I wasn't brought up in Iran. So, what I know as far as student protesting is us in our universities protesting that for some minuscule thing. And when compared to what the students in Iran are going to, it puts us to shame. That seriously, like we have to be that superficial in our universities. Well, and I'm sure it's a good cause, but in comparison of what the students, their lives are at hand. I looked at some pictures with beaten up spines and bloody faces, and it's just horrific. So the more exposure this gets in all levels, whether you are from the third generation, the very first generation that immigrated, or when the revolution happened, to a student today, we all feel the same thing. It thrilled me that I saw elderlies at protests with walkers. They couldn't even walk properly, but they said, I have a sense of duty. I never got a chance to voice my hatred towards this regime. I owe it to my children and grandchildren to stand right by them. And it wasn't even 24 hours that again they ended up with teary eyes, with sadness. So as though we're doomed to have this regime beat us up, I want everyone to keep faith, and I want everyone to look at the bright side. As much as it hurts you at the moment, just look at it in a sense that we have to be strong. As people that are outside of Iran, we got to make sure that we are the voice of the unspoken. We got to make sure that we say it proud and we say it loud, that we are worthy of a better life, a better prosperity. Majid Khan, I am a loyalist to your room. I hear you, and I hear when you get mad. I hear when you get happy. And that goes for every Iranian. Our hearts are at our sleeve. So for me right now is to make sure that everybody globally, whether they back us up or not, it's the citizens movement. And I want to make sure that every citizen hears the pain and not just sympathizes or empathizes with me, stand alongside me. Be as angry as I am. I'm angry. I'm not upset anymore. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. 43 years. My country people have not had a chance to unite, trust each other. They put brothers against brothers, fathers against sons, daughters squealing about their mothers. There were belt lashings for a simple party. Students could not even uh, whistle or sing or dance or just be students. Every 5 seconds, you got to turn around to make sure no one's spying on you. That's dead people walking. And enough of dead people walking. I want to make sure that my country people, and I proudly and fiercely say I'm an Iranian, I want to make sure that they have the same or even better lives than you and I do outside of Iran. They're worthy of it. So as far as Iranians are concerned, I've seen you at the forefront when there was a cartoonist that got murdered. Everybody turned their flags into the French flag. When the Ukrainian thing happened, when 9/11 happened, it's our time. It's our time to have other nations become Iranians. It's our time to tell them what is happening. So, as proud as we are hurting, we're bleeding. And you can sit there and talk about your history. You can sit there and talk about your government. You can sit there and decide what government you want in the future. Not right now. Not today. Not at these times. Not when you have dead bodies in bags and lying the streets. So let's get rid of this barbaric regime. And then you and I can sit down and see what's the best. But for now, my heart goes out to everyone. I just hope that we hear each other in better sentiments in the future. Thank you, Dr. Daniel. Thank you, the panel.
Thank you so much, Daniel. If you have any last word, now it's time.
Thank you, Naz. No, just I want to say thanks for Naz. It was a great pleasure for me to listen to your strong word. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say, and as I promised, the room is 2 hours, and
Yeah.
we are over 5 minutes over.
Okay.
So we're gonna stick to our plan. As Roozbeh, thank you, Naz, Shayan, David, Semko, Majid, everybody. Okay, couple of things I want to say. Since people make fun of English here, I'm gonna do this again and again and again until you guys get used to it. Okay? If you like your friends, non-Farsi speaking friends, know what's going on in your country, you can use a link to this
Daniel, just
room.
make sure for the next room your co-hoster shows up, okay?
Okay. You know what? If I stand here alone, I will do it.
There you
Let's
go.
do it.
Done with us.
Let's do it this way, huh? These guys don't know me. I mean,
Do
probably
it
they
your own
don't know
Dr.
way.
me.
Daniel, please next time actually clear the chat room from idiot people
No, listen. Let them talk.
because
Okay.
there's
Let them
some
talk.
idiot.
This is what I'm saying. Is
Part of
this
society, so
this 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 platform belongs to Iranians. Whatever happened in Farsi rooms, when some fight happen inside the house, you don't show it to your neighbors. Otherwise, everybody make fun of you. Everybody make fun of you.
yeah, no, well, the point is making fun is okay, but
No,
harassment or bullying,
no.
this is
Everybody
separate.
else make fun of you.
No, what I'm saying is,
Roozbeh, you
no,
get my point here?
I do for sure.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying, there's a difference between like harassment or bullying, or you know what I'm saying? Like, we are here to show our solidarity with the Iranian protesters. This is not a proper time for monkey business.
Oh,
That
listen, monkey business. People gonna do monkey business regardless of what. Everything. I remember in Ukrainian room, the long Ukrainian room, we had the same thing. Guess what? Unfortunately, so lots of Iranians do monkey business in that room too. These people wants to do that. Trolling is kind of like they have fun with it. Sit around on a computer, on a cell phone, and do it. I don't care about it. And Majid John, we have difference
Yes,
opinion all over time. In your rooms, I have
absolutely.
difference of opinion, but
Absolutely. But I
in
don't know
front
why
of
they
yeah,
sometimes idiot people are
I hear
coming to
you.
this
I don't
room.
even name
This
the
is
idiot. I
for
think are my
sympathize with
fellow
the
Iranians. They
Sharif
have
University
concerns. They have difference
students.
of opinion. Like
But
me and you, we have a difference opinion. That's fine. The only
absolutely,
thing I want
this is the
is that
nature of the people, you know.
come over, talk. And I'll also invite them to talk. Today is done. I'm finished. I'm gonna put 2 music. I'm done. But
Thank you
I
so
will
much.
invite them to come and talk if is in solidarity with Iranian people and what they're doing. Listen, guys, people, young people who have a long life ahead of them. They have long life ahead of them. They go on the street and they may not come back to their homes. What are you doing? We're just trying here to support them. Even I'm sitting on my desk in my bedroom. I'm trying to support this kid who was hiding beneath tables last night, shivering that somebody can come and shoot them. This is very, very important, to know. Then you come here and say, why you speaking English in Farsi rooms? And why you doing this? And why Majid is here? And why that person is here? Stop it. Stop it. These kids, they're so brave, so alert. They're way better than me. Way better than me. And everyone else in this room. Unless they are on the streets and they're coming here. I know a couple of them sitting down. I know them. They talk in other rooms. So, if I need to stay here every time alone and run this kind of rooms, I will do. I'm not going to pay attention to your trolling on chat room or on shares and whatever in the back channels. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, two music I select for you guys. One
Just
from
last, Daniel.
yes,
I just
sure,
had
say
last
it.
word, if you don't mind. Yeah, I was one of the.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I never get to talk, but well, first of all, I'm going to thank everyone who participated in this room. It was a kind of training for me to make sure that we see if this room is kind of interesting for everyone, which it was. I'll rather give like mark to non-Iranian friends of us, but unfortunately no one showed up tonight. This is just the first night. I'm not too sure if we're gonna continue this. I mean, if I I say what Solomon John and her friends are doing is great, although they have the big support of Tehran, which is a brand, but running a room for like 12 days in a row, not an easy task, I'm telling you. And I really appreciate their efforts. I really do. And I believe it's important for every one of us to first come together as one, and second, make sure that we are the voices of students, of women, of anyone who's in Iran, who's in the street, and who is in pressure under this barbaric Islamic regime. As you said, as you truly mentioned, Daniel, this new generation is different. They're courageous, they're fearless. And as Semko said, our wrath is bigger, and it's getting bigger. And I hope that we can turn this wrath and anger to our power. And then I'm just waiting for a day that we can all celebrate this victory, this freedom back home in Tehran, in the streets of Tehran. It's been a couple of years I haven't visited Iran. I don't see that happen in near future. I lost my father. I just couldn't go in there, and I know that everybody probably suffers the same fate. But what is important is we are here together. These alliances, this unity cannot be broken by Islamic Republic as they try through the decades to differentiate between different Iranian provinces or ethnics or whatever. But we can see the whole Iran is band together for this movement, for these brave women and men who are on the streets, they are in the streets for you, for me, and for everyone else, for generations to come. And it's very important to be their voices, to cast the light on this darkness that Islamic regime is about to show to the world. I'm just going to wrap it up, but just before you go ahead, Daniel, I'm just going to play my own music, if you don't mind. And this is a
No,
tribute.
Roozbeh, just I invited Shana.
No, Majid. Excuse me,
I
but
think
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
I know.
Majid.
Sorry,
I
I don't want to.
understand. I have a strict rules when I put the room. Shana, I'm sorry. I will invite you to the next room. I have a strict rules about my room. I already bypassed that by 15 minutes. Let's for once we plan
Okay, no
something and
worries.
stick to it. I'm
Okay,
Shana, with all the respect to women, and I appreciate that your understanding and you are showing okay to me. I'm trying to stick to this protocol so I can do that again. I really need to take care of my patients tomorrow and 2 a.m. I need to go
And it's
sleep.
correct. No, I
That's what it
respect
is.
that. So may I play like this short song? Yeah.
Sure. Play your song. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will eliminate my song, one of my songs, and you play, and then I will do the rest.
Probably we're going to share the same song.
Okay,
This
go
one is
ahead.
dedicated to Sherwin Hajipur. It's the name is
Perfect.
for freedom, برای آزادی. And this song has been played, I would say, thousands of times during the rallies and demonstration. This artist is in the prison now. We need to be his voice as well. Thanks, everyone. I see familiar faces. Hossein Fatemi, who's a big photojournalist. I've seen others in this room. I would be glad if they could speak up, come to the stage, but probably based on some sort of restrictions, they couldn't. Um, Thanks, Daniel. I'm just going to play this song and then I'll move myself to the audiences and then I'll listen your song. Okay. Thank you, everyone.